Hello and welcome. I'm excited to be presenting today. I enjoy public speaking, but I'm extra excited to be with this group of people. And that's because everyone in this room is here because we all have the same goal: to ensure a successful future for every student. Some of you may have joined because you have a grandson or granddaughter in school. Others because you grew up in this town and want to affect change. Perhaps some of you just want to serve your community. But you're all here for the students. You all work so hard to give kids the best opportunity possible to succeed. As a teacher myself, and as a father, I can tell you that our goals align. Today, I want to talk to you all about creating a new culture in your schools, a health-first approach that focuses on the nutritional needs of your students, a way to improve focus in the classroom, increase test scores, and ensure that every child has access to 2 healthy meals per day and a variety of healthy snacks, all while increasing the amount of nutrition education being taught at every level of high school. It's hard to deny that those are some good ideas. But why should it be done? How can it be done? And who am I to be giving this sort of advice? How about we start with that last one? My name is John Mccullough. I graduated from the University of Maine at Farmington with a Bachelor of Science degree in Community Health with a School Health concentration. For the past 5 years, I've been in public education, teaching health at Gray New Gloucester High School. I've been on the Maine Association for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance Board for 3 years and am the acting VP of Health. Currently, I'm a graduate student at the University of New England in the Applied Nutrition program. In addition to these things, I have had a passion for nutrition education for as long as I have been a teacher in the public school system. Seeing students not function at their best because they are nutritionally insecure is a heartbreaking experience. Some of you may have been teachers yourselves, so I know you've had snacks in your desk drawers for certain students that needed it. It is an experience that should not happen, and I believe we can work together to do something about it. With that being said, here's what I have planned for this presentation. To start, we will look at the learning objectives. They'll form that backbone of this seminar and help with any future objectives that you may have with your district. Following that, I would like to talk to you about why I believe this seminar is important and useful. The background information will provide context and justification for the seminar. Learning about obesity and the accompanying factors that cause it, such as fast food, empty calories, school nutrition, and income, will paint a pretty vivid picture. After we tackle the heart of the issue, we can identify strategies that have been used both in Maine and around the country to make a healthy school environment, so we can see what the alternatives are. The stages of change model may sound like a way to predict weather patterns, but it is actually a useful tool that we can use to see where students are in their own nutritional health plan and offer them resources based on their needs. Healthy defaults are a way of making the healthiest choices the easiest ones. Simple strategies to make your students healthier. Myplate is not a new idea by any means. It's been around for a long time, but using its resources is an easy way to increase nutritional education to your students and staff. Towards the end, we'll wrap up with how it can all fit together to benefit your schools. And if you care to look over my references for where I got all of this information, it'll be there at the end too. So here are my goals for this seminar. They're not earth-shattering or complicated. In general, I want us to work together to really dissect and critique your current practices. Many schools' focus is to make sure that every student has a meal to eat while on campus. And that is a great goal to meet. But while that goal is important, I see it as incomplete. And without even realizing it, you may already have a good foundation to work with. If your school has both breakfast and lunch available to students, that's fantastic. But I want to put our heads together to see if we can offer more. Next, we will look at the Myplate Recommendations. It'll be as simple as visiting their website and exploring all of their amazing resources. After, we can discuss healthy alternatives. We'll dive into other programs that are successful and how we can capitalize off the work they've already done. I also want us to discuss not just why I think it's important for schools and their students to understand basic nutritional needs, but also why you think it's important. The last objective will be to explain how the stages of change model can be used to assist your staff and students. So there is a lot of background information about why nutrition is important, not just in schools, but for every stage and aspect of life. For today's purposes, though, I will just limit it to talking about childhood obesity and what causes it. Before that, though, I need to talk about one thing quickly, and that is who matters most in this equation. And that is you, school board members and administrators. A lot of the information you'll see here today will talk about the students, and we can all agree that students are the future. But the decisions you make at school board meetings help shape that future and influence what happens in the school building. You have an incredibly important role in these students' lives, and it does not get enough credit. That's why I want to spend my time talking with each of you, because your decisions matter. By the way, I apologize if you're under the age of 40. National Statistics has the median age of school board members at 59, and adults over the age of 40 covered the bases here. By looking at this room, though, 59 seems ridiculous because you all look wonderful. Getting to the meat of the problem, childhood obesity affects 14.4 million children. Obesity, overall, has been a continued struggle for decades, and 14.4 million is 19.3% of the childhood population, and the numbers are not trending in our youth's favor. In fact, for high schoolers alone, the prevalence is over 21% of the population. So why does this issue matter to you? You may say to yourself, 21% isn't so much. Why should we worry? The reason this concern needs to be dealt with is because it is something that will get progressively worse as adolescents progress into young adults. The rate for adult obesity is currently at 42.2%. That is a 12% increase in the last 20 years. If we stay on this current trajectory without intervention, things will get much worse. Over half the population will be considered overweight or obese. Let's look at some factors that contribute to these percentages that I'm throwing out. Fast food. McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, just to name a few. The school day is just a piece of the puzzle. It is just as important to discuss what students eat outside of campus because it affects performance while learning. A study that was conducted in Australia found that good nutrition can have a key role in promoting both physical and mental health throughout the lifespan. In addition to helping students develop good lifelong behaviors, evidence suggests that it also enhances brain function. Sometimes it is easy to think of high school students as young adults. But in reality, they are going to spend the next 10 years continuing to develop their brain and body. Improper nutrition can hinder that development and those good lifelong behaviors I mentioned. More than 1/3 of adolescents are consuming fast food on a given day. That's 36.3%, and 13.8% of all calories consumed are from fast food restaurants. Things aren't always as simple as this person just likes the taste of fast food burgers and fries. Large families simply like the convenience that comes with getting fast food. Cooking a large nutritious meal for a family of 4 or more can be a very difficult task, especially if you're short on time. Being able to quickly go through a drive-thru to pick up your meals and be home minutes later with food to feed your family can save a lot of time. Let's not forget that fast food can be incredibly cheap. A few items from the dollar menu at any fast food chain will fill families up with their high-fat calorie foods. Finally, a lack of education about the importance of nutrition can leave a lasting impact. A high school student athlete that has a fast metabolism and can eat anything without gaining weight may not know that eating fast food can be a dangerous habit in the long run. Why would they think otherwise? It's also possible that they will just think it won't affect them now, so why worry? As adults, I'm sure you've had that thought when you were young. and hindsight is 20/20. How many of you have made unhealthy choices when you were younger because you didn't think it would lead to a negative outcome later in life? Continuing on with other factors, empty calories are one of the biggest contributors to obesity in the United States. They are solid fats and added sugars that come from foods such as soda, fruit drinks, desserts, pizza, and whole milk. These are the regular sorts of food that are offered at the fast food restaurants I just mentioned. For children and adolescents aged 2 to 18, empty calories make up 40% of their diet. Sugar-sweetened beverages account for about 10% of that. It is also worth mentioning that students in this age group do not meet their daily and fruit and vegetable recommendations. So not only does the average adolescent diet consist of 40% empty calories, but of the other nutrients they are getting, it's not coming from fruits and vegetables. So how do these things directly impact a child's risk of becoming overweight or obese? The fast food that students are more regularly consuming are high in empty calories and have an extremely high energy density. If you combine those two, it's a recipe for a larger waistline. If a student is eating healthy, they are getting more nutrient bang for each caloric buck. But when you consider the other factors like lack of education about the importance of nutrition, convenience taking priority over healthy decisions, or the idea that you can not eat healthy without spending a lot of money, you begin to see a pattern in the American diet. You get a blueprint for why 14.4 million adolescents are obese. So, what are school nutrition standards and what's new with them? In 2012, the United States government completely changed school nutrition standards by doing 4 things: increasing fruits and vegetables available to students, setting maximum energy limits, which helps reduce empty calories, require that all grains be whole grain rich, and only non-fat milks can be flavored. These recommendations are very similar to the Myplate recommendations that we'll go over later. This guideline is meant to maximize the amount of nutrients our students are getting while limiting the number of calories being taken in. The goal being much healthier meals and students. While these guidelines provide an excellent framework for school nutrition, we still have a pretty big health problem despite it. So why? If the United States has put out these recommendations, and all the information is available to the public, then where is the issue? Unfortunately, in some areas of the United States, and while statistics vary from region to region, only 64% of schools follow the United States recommendations. As it stands, it is not mandatory to follow the recommendations. The cost of meals per day can add up for some families. On average, breakfast and lunch each day costs a student $4.29. That's almost $800 per year. Schools often take on a lot of debt for students that cannot pay for meals on their own. This does not account for students that qualify for free or reduced meal prices. Where things currently stand, many schools have already taken on the cost of a student's meals over the course of the school year. As administrators and school board members, I don't need to tell you that money matters. And family income matters just as much. A factor that contributes to both obesity rates and affordability of school lunch is how much money a family household makes. Depending on if a student is in lower or middle income class, they may not qualify for free or reduced meals, but also cannot afford to pay for food at school regularly. Obesity rates among the highest income families is at 10.9%, while the lower and middle class hovers between 18 and 20%. As we learned earlier, income can make a big difference in what families decide to have for each meal. For some, income can mean the difference between a home-cooked meal and a quick stop at a fast food chain. It is important to discuss what can be done to solve these issues, as well as the importance of a nutrition literate school system. There have been programs that have been implemented in each individual state, as well as initiatives that have taken root all over the country. There are a couple right here in Maine that have found success, and if you're a health teacher, you'd be hard-pressed to say that you have not heard of them. They are the Let's Go and 5210 programs. Let's Go is a community engagement initiative that was launched in 2006. It works to improve behaviors that impact childhood obesity. They do this by focusing on healthy eating and active living behaviors. Let's Go displays healthy messages and tips within the community it is trying to reach that promote healthy eating and active living. One of the best things they do is create environments within the community that is welcoming and supports healthy choices. The goals of this program are something that aligns with Myplate, and also what schools around the country should be striving for. Simple and to the point, they are increasing consumption of healthier food and beverages instead of empty calories, increasing physical activity rather than normal sedentary lifestyle most Americans are experiencing, and finally, increase coordination and cooperation in the communities that they are trying to reach. You're all a part of this community. You know its wants and needs. As you well know, community engagement is what gets things done. Being able to mobilize your community around a singular purpose, a healthier and more successful student body, I believe would have the community rallying behind you in support. Getting the parents and guardians involved at home will only strengthen your goals, and there's even a program that does just that. The Let's Go driving force, so to speak, for change is their 5210 Healthy Habits message. This, and Let's Go, is also actually something very similar to Healthy Defaults, which we'll talk more about later on in this presentation. The 5210 Healthy Habits message means that on each day, adolescents should consume 5 or more fruits and vegetables, have 2 hours or less recreational screen time, 1 hour or more of physical activity, and 0 sugary drinks, and have water instead. Let's Go and 5210 are plans of action that are likely already being taught in many high schools around Maine. It has both credibility and notoriety. This initiative reaches early care, educational programs, schools, school nutrition programs, out-of-school programs, and healthcare practices. It is perfect for community engagement and can even be incentivized. For families that commit to these goals, for example, free admission to school events like football or basketball games, or a gift card to Hannaford could be raffled off. Have community members simply submit the evidence on a district form that you would create, and they are automatically entered into the raffle. The raffle could be drawn as often as you see fit. I'm sure you're wondering how to keep track of students' progress throughout each year. In the world of health, there are several different models that help create plans for individuals to change their behaviors. The Stages of Change model is meant to tailor a health message about nutrition and physical activity, making it the ideal model to use for our program, Healthy High School. There are 5 stages to this model. Students at a high school may be in a different stage depending on varying circumstances in their life. Circumstances that I am sure you are familiar with, such as what their home life is like. The idea of this model is to get individuals to progress through each stage. It does not matter how long it takes a given student to move from one stage to the other, and conversely, their journey may not be linear. That is to say, it is not uncommon for individuals to move backwards or make several attempts before reaching the final stage. That does not mean that we are failing the students. Living life in general is a work in progress, and we all move at our own speed. This model takes into account the human nature side of trying to change a behavior. For some, it may be easy. For others, it could take every year of school. The important thing is to give them resources to succeed. Here are the 5 stages of change and what they each mean. Pre-contemplative. Individuals in this stage have no intention of changing their behavior. They are not aware of the risk and deny that adverse outcomes could happen to them, or they are aware of the risks but have decided not to change their behavior. Lack of education can be the main factor for students being in the pre-contemplative stage. If students are not aware of healthy alternatives, then they have no reason to make a change in their lifestyle. Contemplative. Individuals in this stage have the intention to change but have no plans to change their behavior. Some students can make it to this stage on their own. Something may inspire them to begin thinking about the current lifestyle, or it may even be the education they absorb that gets the wheels turning. This is where providing additional resources can be useful in helping them progress to the next stage. The next stage is where things begin to start happening. Preparation. Individuals in this stage have plans to change their behavior and may have taken the first steps to changing their behavior. At this point, it is a good idea to continuously encourage the student and show your ongoing support. Progression through these stages is more likely to happen if everyone is on board. All content areas, from health and science to English, math, and history, should be involved and excited for students making healthier choices for themselves. Action. Individuals in this stage have started to change their behavior. However, the behavior change is recent and may be inconsistent. It's fantastic when someone reaches this level. Some may be able to continue their changed behavior with ease, while others will require ongoing support. Again, it is not a failure if a student regresses to a previous stage. It is completely natural for different individuals to take more time to make it to the end of the stages of change. And finally, maintenance. These individuals have maintained consistent behavior change for a long time. The newly acquired behavior has become a part of their lives. At this point, it's like second nature. Can students still go backwards once they have reached the end? Of course. All it takes is one significant event to have a student regress to a previous stage. Big life changes, such as a death in the family, an injury, or some other traumatic event, can have a huge impact on their lives and lifestyle decisions. What's important is to be a consistent influence in their lives and continue with endless support for their health. As we move through the seminar, we will learn how to implement the stages of change model into a school nutrition setting. Before you can implement a school nutrition plan, it's important to identify where schools need more work and discuss realistic strategies. To start, it should be noted that schools across the nation are struggling with nutrition and nutrition literacy, and while improvements must be made, all parties involved should know that there is no quick solution. In the Las Cruces school system, they started small by removing all their soda machines in 2006. They found that their students were drinking soft drinks all day long and wanted to reduce the number of empty calories they were consuming. From there, they began nutrition education programs to introduce new fruits and vegetables to their students and create gardens that were encouraged to be used in all classes. They knew that the process could take a generation to make their students healthier, but there were no alternatives to successful school nutrition program. The director of operations said, "Overweight and obesity did not develop in just 5 years. We cannot solve the problem in 5 years either." And that should go through the heart of everyone in America. There is no quick fix to overweight and obesity. You can spend your whole life looking for one and not find it. It is just like when you ask students to make goals for themselves. You want them to shoot for the stars and find meaning in their life, but you also want them to make realistic goals. It is not realistic to lose weight quickly, not without sacrificing other aspects of an individual's health. Healthy defaults are more than making healthy choices. They're making the healthy choices the easiest choices. For example, making bottled water cheaper or even free for students so it is an easier choice for them to make. The good news is, Myplate has a lot of actionable, healthy defaults that can very easily be applied to any school nutrition program. Looking at these Myplate healthy defaults, you will see that they are very simple concepts. If you look at what the ideal school lunch should look like, you would see half a plate that is full of fruits and vegetables. Make half of all grains whole grains. Move to low-fat or fat-free dairy milk. Provide a reusable water bottle for every student, which would also be COVID-friendly, and encourage students to pack healthier snacks like plain popcorn, nuts, carrot sticks, or cucumber slices. Healthy eating should not stop when students leave the school, though. There are dozens of cheap and easy-to-make recipes that are healthy. Make these recipes readily available to everyone so they can take it home. You can even encourage the teachers to share their healthy recipes with students in their classes. Many students look up to their teachers, and if their favorite teacher hands them a meal that they could easily make on their own for a little amount of money, it can make all the difference. And making time for physical activity between and after classes will help students burn calories throughout the school day. And finally, practice planning. Being prepared for meals in advance can save time and stress when it comes to making healthy decisions. Things like planning meals for the week can go a long way toward leading a successful and healthy life. Like I said before, the healthy defaults that were given follow Myplate recommendations. That is just one aspect to why Myplate is successful. There is so much more to Myplate than the healthy defaults that are listed on its website. Myplate can be customized to fit anyone. Race, sex, and age do not matter. It is meant to guide its users to make small changes over time and eventually develop a routine that can be maintained. It is in this way that the stages of change model can be used to measure a student's progress. Finally, variety is everything. Having the same options every week can make things dull and not enjoyable. Introducing a variety of food is a great way to ensure lifelong health. Don't just offer the same food options to students every day and every week at school. Keep the recipes that are available to the students fresh. Make sure the catalog of healthy recipes is constantly expanding. You can do this by making vegetarian versions of each meal or including some that are gluten-free. It is these small variations that will show the community that you care about what students put in their body. We have talked a lot about Myplate, but how does implementing it to the school day work? First, it is necessary to compare and contrast the Myplate recommendations with what your school is presently doing for nutrition education. Getting your departments organized to include nutrition education into their curriculum by using Myplate as a guideline will show that your school takes nutrition seriously. I will talk about different possibilities as far as adapting Myplate into every classroom shortly. Creating a school garden is a bandwagon that schools have been on for years. If your school does not have one, consider making one, or even building a greenhouse. Decide what vegetables will be going into the garden and plan how it will be integrated into school lunches. Students take pride in their work. If they find out that vegetables they help grow are going to be served at lunch at some point, do not be surprised if you hear them bragging about it in the halls or trying to get their friends to try the zucchini or tomatoes they help grow. Cost is an important variable to consider. Figuring out how much money to spend on a school nutrition program requires careful thought. I would like to work with you here to decide how much bang for your buck is possible. Let's take a peek at what other schools are doing in their nutrition education program. In Maine, the South Portland School Department adheres to the United States Department of Agriculture's nutrition recommendations. Their focus is on making sure each meal is acceptable to every student. Tastes good, is prepared safely, and with a smile. Each meal consists of an entree, fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, and 8 ounces of milk. Breakfast is available every morning to each student. This comes with 2 grains, a choice of juice, fresh fruits, and milk. Milk can either be 1% skim or fat-free chocolate. No student at the South Portland School Department will be denied a meal. Meals are eligible for reimbursement from the United States Department of Agriculture. Providing 2 healthy meals to every student is a respectable and necessary endeavor. The one weakness in this program may be the a la carte options, which are traditionally not as healthy. Furthermore, The school department does nothing to include nutrition education to improve students' awareness about obesity and healthy eating. Now, this presentation has been full of information and ideas, but how does it all fit together? How might the stages of change model work with Myplate and a school budget, or a school garden? Here are just some possibilities. Critique what your school is currently implementing for school nutrition. Combine Myplate recommendations with every aspect of the school system. For example, grow 5 different types of vegetables in the school garden. Calculate burning calories in the human body for math classes. Learn the history of human nutrition and the differing diets proposed throughout the centuries. Read literature that relates to the district's health policies at least once a year. Have science, health, physical education teachers break down what happens in the body with good nutrition. Discuss how to change the meal plan for breakfast and lunch to add variety and a sense of health and well-being. Have the entire staff educated on the importance of nutritionally literate schools. The stages of change model can be used to check where each student is, as far as willingness to make a change with their health. From there, the model can be used to make an action plan to support students and provide additional resources and counseling to better their health and nutrition literacy. It's important to remember that this is a team effort, and you're all where people turn to make all of the important decisions. To wrap things up, you're the leaders of this team. You help shape this district's policies around what is important. We can offer students a healthier future. We have the knowledge to do it, and I truly believe that you all have the passion to see it through. Thank you for taking the time to listen and consider what I have to say. The following are references that I use to present these facts and ideas to make schools more nutritionally literate. Each reference includes current academic information.